Here we go, chat. FC26 reveal trailer. Oh, we got the countdown and everything. Counting it down. Here we go. Not actual gameplay. Come on now. You got to start with that. They start with that? Okay, just like the video with Cole Palmer.
Oh, it's a beautiful day for football. I hope
The Allianz Arena.
Game, Stuart.
Well, hopefully we actually see the game today, Derek.
That's more like it. A perfect challenge.
Dub. Okay. What? All right.
It's like he's got the ball on a string.
Okay.
Every goal is the exact same. Full swim, goal. Full swim, goal.
They put a streamer in the what? Yo. Oh, Mbappe.
Well, it looks like they've been hard at work on that, doesn't it?
Well, I haven't seen that one before, or that one. Oh, finally a bit of physicality in this game.
Oh, that's more like it.
What a goal.
Oh, low-driven power shots. Okay. Second time they showed that. Whoa.
Can they put it all together?
Okay, that's a lot.
Big chance. And it's a penalty.
Wait. Give people what they want. Give them Zlatan.
Yes! Let's go! Zlatan! Oh, that was cold. That was cold. Alex Morgan. Dang. Okay, yeah, the pre-orders are out. Yep. Oh, dip. Chat, hold on a second. Yo, let me go back. That was actually kind of cold. Chat, is that one of the better trailers that we've seen in a long time? No cap. At the beginning here when it talked about fixing bounce backs, yeah, fixed tackles, way too many bounce backs. EA says not anymore. And then they show a defender making a tackle and clearly winning the ball. And there's a slide tackle, there was a regular tackle. Rewards good timing, more consistent outcomes. Dude, you got to take it with a pinch of salt as always, but that's answering directly our questions, bro. Make gameplay faster? No, make it more realistic. Yeah, what is this? Choose your gameplay experience. So you have two different versions of gameplay. You have authentic and competitive. Interesting. More agility in every direction. Okay. More pace even when they're tired. Dude, no. This part's crazy. Literally a streamer saying every goal is the exact same. And look at the chat. Ha. Another tap in. Gotta patch these goalkeepers. Rebounds OP. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is crazy. I can't believe they put that in the trailer. See, okay, here's some of the stuff. Fewer deflection goals. Okay. Here's some of the stuff that we hear every year, right? Some of this stuff for sure is like, okay, you know, Lewis Hamilton and Mbappe, didn't expect a cameo from them. This graphic's kind of cool, showing the retuning of the passing. There's a whole bunch of things here at the end. New skill moves, elastical variation, drag to chop. This trickster rainbow was insane. Woo, get cooked, Cucurella. And then there was a whole bunch of things that they did rapid fire here at the very end that I couldn't even see. We're going to have to look through those slowly. Off-ball shielding. Smarter goalkeeper movement, all right. Low-driven power shot, yep. We knew that was coming. We knew that was coming for sure. Update manager career, done, okay. On-ball physicality. This is where I want to pause it and go slow because there were so many different things. Julian Alvarez just cooked him. Is that? No, that's not Julian Alvarez. Who is that? Vlahovic? He just destroyed him. Okay, new icons. That's definitely Oliver Kahn in net. See that? That's definitely Oliver Kahn. Introducing archetypes. What is that? Show us the new kits. Sorry, you'll have to wait. So VVD blurred out there with, with the kit. All right. Be a keeper mode. Wait, what? That's Rush. Chat, you can now be the goalkeeper. Look. That's Rush over there on the sideline. This is, yeah. You can be the keeper in Rush. Inverted wingbacks, I'm guessing that's a new role. Precision header playstyle. So new playstyle, precision header. One frame passing. Dude, there was so much here in this, like, this 10 seconds was crazy. What is one frame passing? Simplified skill moves, signature perks, high contrast mode, ultimate team tournaments, there we go, foot competitive camera, manager market, aerial fortress playstyle. There was just so much there that I had no idea what was going on when it was moving so fast. This might be the coldest part of the whole trailer though. Oh man. Dude, quit pausing on me. Oh, when they show Zlatan over there on the side with his voice, give the people what they want.
Give them Zlatan.
Give them Zlatan. Oh, that was so cold, bro. Oh, that was electric. Sweet. All right, now we got to catch up. Are there patch notes? The thing that's kind of surprising to me, it's kind of like a dip. They actually did it, is the fact that they're like addressing the things that we've complained about most in gameplay for a long time head on. They even put a streamer in there. I can't get over that. They put a streamer in there, bro. That's crazy. Okay, so as you saw, there's a ton in that trailer. We already talked about a lot of it. We went back and looked at some specific parts of the trailer, but I want to continue the conversation here with some of the articles that EA released about gameplay responsiveness, dual entitlement, maybe PC not being cross-platform with PS5 and Xbox One this year, also the official release dates, and a feedback deep dive that they're really interested about too, and also the pre-order rewards. I want to dive deep into those. So let's get into it first by talking about the gameplay and this whole big pitch notes that they put about gameplay responsiveness here on the website yesterday. Guys, all of this news, if you type in EAFC 26 on Google, it's going to be under the news tab here. It's going to take you to this kind of grouping of news and updates, and you can click on the articles through there if you want to deep dive more. There's a lot of words in here, and I've read a lot of them. I just want to skim over the not so important parts and talk about the parts that are important. They talk a lot about in this gameplay responsiveness update about connections and servers and what they're doing to increase the responsiveness of the game and decrease input delay and lag. Now, they talk a lot about here about just the general stuff, like, you know, the connection just is based around a lot of things, which is true. Like, your internet comes into play, whether it's wired, whether it's Wi-Fi. Of course, wired is always better. Your location in terms of where you are in relation to a actual server. I was hoping that they would say in this article they were going to add in more servers. They did not, unfortunately, say that they were doing that, but they did do a couple of good things. I thought it was funny in here they mentioned that they were testing directly with actual council members, which is like, I'm actually on the FC Design Council, and that's just like I get to get your guys' feedback to EA directly. That's why I'm always asking for your guys' comments and videos and your comments on live streams and tweets and stuff like that, is because they look at our community, my community, really intently to get your guys' feedback. So that's just a props to you for being here and being able to give them that sort of feedback. Anyways, but they went to these guys' houses and actually played the game, and these guys like Stokes here showed them like what was up and where the input delay was and where the lag was. I love this line inside of this thing here. FC players are really good at detecting even the smallest delay issues. To me, that's like, they didn't think it's that big of an idea, but we're like, yo, this matters. Delays of even one frame can result in a noticeably unresponsive experience. Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, here's the thing where it talks about Wi-Fi, ping, internet speed, your TV. Read this, like, if you don't know too much about internet connection, there could be something like your monitor settings. Maybe they're set on some mode that you don't want them on that makes the response time less, or your TV. Actually, I used to play on a TV before I played on a monitor a couple of years ago, and switching to a monitor is actually a pretty big difference with a fast refresh rate. So there are some little things like that that matter. If you want to deep dive into all the connection stuff, that is in there. Now, they talked about things that they're changing in the game. They increased animation coverage. They the variability of the animations to create authenticity, and also addressing animation system bugs. So basically trying to not make players collide in certain ways, it sounds like, that would create situations where it feels like there is lag. Now, this is the biggest part right here in terms of this gameplay responsiveness article that they wrote. I think this is the most important. They looked very closely at every stage of input processing system and identified opportunities to improve the latency. They said they were able to improve input latency by 1 frame in some cases of first-time passes and shot requests. Now, this one I can directly relate to, and I'm sure you guys can too. When you are passing a ball to a player, and you see that that player can then play a very clear pass, whether it's a through ball or just a regular X or A pass to an open teammate, and you're ready to play that pass, but you play it, and then all of a sudden your player takes a touch instead of passing the ball right away. That is what this sounds like it's going to improve. They said combined with the animation improvements mentioned above, those scenarios are likely to play out as first-time passes or shots in FC26. That was one of the things we saw in the trailer, right? Of like that quick tiki-taka passing, which honestly, I feel like if you have, now this is a problem too, speaking of playstyle pluses and playstyles, but if you have somebody with tiki-taka plus, which I've got the brand new Vitinha, I've got the Yashin here who's got tiki-taka plus, even Lamine Yamal with tiki-taka base, and Luna, all of my attackers have at least tiki-taka base right now. Of course, KDB does as well. You can actually play pretty good tiki-taka with those players with high stats and with the playstyle of this end game state of the game. But we're about to enter into the time of the game where stats are going to be low, player playstyles are going to be minimal, and we want the gameplay to still be usable and not feel like it's a completely different game when we have those lower rated cards. So hopefully this is a good change in regards to that. They also mentioned they're improving their input systems with the aim of ensuring that all inputs are processed immediately. And they've improved the responsiveness of the on-screen player switch indicator visual feedback, giving the user more immediate feedback on which player they are controlling. That's huge for me because I feel like a lot of times when I'm player switching, whether it's with the L1, LB button or with the right stick, it does not go where I'm either pointing it to or the player indicator is delayed. So like I'm wanting to switch here, but then it switches me to somewhere else because the ball moves just a tiny bit and I'm ahead of that movement, but it doesn't recognize, the game doesn't recognize that that ball has moved yet or whatever. So that's kind of the situation that I'm liking hearing about right there. So that's kind of the most important parts about the connectiveness. They talk here again. There's a lot of words in here. If you want to just double check and make sure that your Ethernet, your ping, and your bandwidth stuff is set correctly, and you're looking into that here, that's a good place to go and look for that. Now, I want to move on and talk about pre-order rewards. This is a very big topic right now as well in this game. And like we talked about in the main channel video today, really impacts when you pre-ordered the game actually is an impact right now on this game because there's an objective that correlates with the pre-order. First of all, these pre-order rewards are pretty crazy, and we're very happy to see that the price of this game has not gone up. First of all, I love as well that the icons added in this guaranteed icon from launch, they got some big names in there. Of course, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but R9, that's a shock. Some of us are going to start FC26 with a first owner, pack pulled, untradeable R9 icon card. Now, sure, it's probably not going to be 94 rated. It might only be like 91 or 92. But that's insane because these cards upgrade as well. That was one of the things we found here in the very fine print is that these icons will be released on the first day when we get on the game, September 19th, 2025, with that 7 days early access. And they will be upgraded to a champion version by November 30th, 2025. So by the end of November, whatever icon you pack in that pre-order icon pack, again, it says 1 of 15. Guys, it is a pack. There is no way that they're going to give us a chance at Zlatan or Ronaldo in a player pick. It's got to be a pack. That's how all of these pre-order rewards have been. They've always been packs. Don't get your hopes up. People are saying they're player picks. I'm very, very hopeful, and that just seems way too good. If they do end up being player picks, everybody's going to pick R9 and Zlatan. So, like, how fun would that be? And that wouldn't be good for EA's business model at the start of the game either. It's 100% got to be a pack, just knowing EA. But the fact that he's in there is sick. I really, 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 really hope I get Zlatan. Probably won't, but, you know, we're going to at least try. And it is nice that those cards do upgrade like the heroes did this year. Now, the rest of the rewards in FC26, the FC point situation, if you didn't hear us talk about it in the main channel video, this is a bit of a conundrum. I'm not a huge fan of it. You can see here that I was Control F searching for the FC points information. This is the part where it's confusing and kind of annoying, but there could be some positives to this as well. They're going to be distributing the FC points in 3 equal installments or increments, as they said. And this is different from what we've had in FC24 and FC25, because what they've given us before is all the FC points straight away at once. Last year and in FC24, we got FC points straight away at the beginning, all 4,600. We went straight to the store, ripped all of those, got our coins, and started our Ultimate Team journey with more coins because we had all those FC points. This year, they're splitting 6,000 FC points 3 ways. You're going to get 2,000 right away when you log in. You're going to get 2,000 at the end of the month. So the way that this reads is a bit confusing, by the way, but we believe it's 2,000 right when you log in, 2,000 at the end of September, which would be 2 weeks later, and then 2,000 more granted by the end of the following month, which would be at the end of October. So that could be good in a sense, because think about it. You get 2,000 right away. You get some coins. You get some packs open right there. 2,000 in that first month. So 2 weeks after the initial release. So you get on the game September 19th with early access. You get 2,000 FC points on September 30th. Maybe you're doing evolutions with that. Maybe you're opening more packs for whatever promo starts right then. And then at the end of October, that third release of FC points, you could open more packs, then do some evolutions for free, or buy the next season pass, the premium season pass. That might be why EA is doing this, to try to get people involved in the season pass. When I will have to watch when the first season pass expires, I would almost bet money that it's going to be at the end of October, because that is when we will be getting our third distribution of those FC points, which would just be such an EA thing to do, is give us those for the season pass, which would actually be kind of nice and not necessarily like a bad thing that EA would be doing, but also it would be like, okay, EA, like they're trying to get us hooked on the season passes. But so far this year in 25, the season passes have been pretty insane. So that's one thing I just want to kind of shout out and kind of mention right there, because I think we're kind of reading their mind and how that's going to work out in terms of EA's plan with the FC points. It's just a bit of a negative from a trading perspective, as a lot of you guys who've been watching the channel for a long time are really into trading and making the most of your club from the start of the game. And having the FC points changing over from when they used to just give us packs at the beginning of the game was a huge, huge W, because you got so many more coins straight away. Now, also through these pre-order rewards, they are giving us an additional player evolution slot. It was kind of unknown when we first saw the leaks of these pre-order rewards, what that was actually going to look like. But if you actually go here on the pre-order page and scroll all the way down to the bottom, it does say additional Evo slot. There was another graphic that I saw that even worded it a bit more specifically. But it is actually the opportunity to evolve 2 players at one time. So that's not just getting an evolution given to us like we thought it maybe was going to be, like an additional Evo consumable. No, we're going to be able to evolve 2 players at once, which is crazy, because usually later in the year, I think maybe in FC25, we waited until November? Was it that long until we had the ability to evo 2 players at once? Because usually at the start of the game, it's just 1. So that must mean they're dropping a whole lot of evos inside of FC26, and that's going to be maybe pretty crazy to keep up with. So those are the pre-order rewards. Really quickly to mention once again, if you pre-order as soon as possible, like it seems like EA wants us to do, you do get that player evolution that gives 99 shooting. And that evolution giving 99 shooting is very important, because that ties in perfectly with this brand new footy sharpshooter evo that we had in FC25, because it can only be applied to players with 99 shooting. And we're still waiting on EA to give these rewards out. They said that it would take, a few days in the coming days. So I would expect that it would be a little bit of time before we get that 93 plus pick and the evolution there. So those are the pre-order rewards that I wanted to discuss from all of that. The other thing I wanted to discuss from here was the dual entitlement, because a lot of people have been saying that PC, this is a rumor, I believe, at this point, but there's no mention of PC really in here in this frequently asked questions section of the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Xbox One. In relation to the dual entitlement, this is still going to be a game that is playable on PlayStation 4, but like always, if you're on PS4, you can only match Xbox One, and if you're on PlayStation 5, you can only match the next gen of Xbox Series X or S. Now, in here, it's talking about who can match against who. Yeah, will PlayStation 5 players be able to match up and play against PlayStation 4 players? What about Xbox? different series. They said you can only match from the same generation. I think if you look back to last year, I'd have to do the digging myself. But if you look back to last year's dual entitlement, like frequently asked questions, fine print, I think it mentioned that Xbox and PlayStation 5 would also be able to match PC. It does not mention that in here. So EA might literally be separating PC from the next gen consoles once again this year because of all the hacking situations that have gone on inside of FC25. So that's one thing to keep an eye on as well. This is the last part that I want to talk about here is the feedback. As with EA really focusing on the community and a lot of stuff like that, they're introducing this new FC feedback, which actually, if you open up this link, which takes you to the pitch notes, they started a whole new website for the feedback portal, and they kind of spoke about how the portal works, how they use the responses, and a real world example. In FC25, they made a change in a title update thanks to portal feedback, talking about how failed tackles can now take longer to transition out of. That was actually one of the most recent updates that we had in this game, right? Making the tackle time animation a little bit longer so you couldn't spam as many tackles. Here's another cheeky sentence from EA, though, about the community. You gave us thousands of responses in the portal, many which went into great detail. Yeah, you know, thousands of responses. I'm sure there's a lot of negative responses in there, too. I can only imagine. But they did talk about that a lot of there, and they tweeted about it a couple of times. So I think that's worth mentioning, that that's something that they're going to be prioritizing a lot. They said that they're focusing on something that they know is important to us with gameplay responsiveness, which is why they talked a lot about that. And yeah, they said that the new feedback portal website, I think, is called, it's like feedback. They released the website somewhere, and now I can't find it, actually. I thought it was on this site here. It was literally like feedback.portal or something. Oh, right here. Never mind, that's not it. I think they're going to release that at a certain time, but just watch out for the portal. I know not everybody uses it, but it is actually something that's pretty helpful, it seems, in terms of the future of this game. So that's a lot of the details in the deep dive that I want to dive into. We're waiting for the deep dives. Now, I said deep dive already, but we're waiting for the actual deep dives to happen in terms of what we're going to be getting with gameplay, what we're going to be getting with like career mode, archetypes, which actually archetypes is involved in pro clubs. So that's kind of like a double whammy right there for archetypes and clubs, I think. And then career mode and then ultimate team. So for some of this news back here, like, you know, the ultimate team tournaments that we want to know a lot more about, refreshed rivals and champs, the live events with themed competitions and new bounties. I got a lot of questions about bounties. Of course, we got to know about this new challengers mode, which is a second tier of weekend league competition for lower division players. There's still a lot of information that we're wanting to know in there about that. But honestly, right now, it's going to be leaks probably ahead of time. I'm sure we're going to know about leaks of this stuff before it gets announced. And then we'll just be waiting for these official releases to come out before we learn too much more about FC26. I appreciate you guys watching the video today. I'd love to hear your comments down below in the comment section, whether you enjoyed the trailer, whether you thought it was just, you know, the normal mumbo jumbo from EA. I think it's not an arguable point, though, that EA had this was one of the crazier trailers that we've ever seen in terms of how much they showed and addressed the community as a part of everything related to FC26. So they're setting the bar. They're setting the expectation pretty high is how we'll say it right there. And let's hope that it all lives up, at least to be a lot better than FC25. We'll just have to see. If you enjoyed this video, drop a thumbs up on it, comment below if you have any questions, and of course, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will see you in another video soon. It's been Nathan with Account. Catch you later. Peace out.